into the NBA, I just want to lead with this one thing. The 2018 number 8 overall pick, Collin freaking Sexton, dropped 42 on the super team Nets. He dropped 20 straight for the Cavs in overtime and double overtime to power them to a victory over the Nets. He was absolutely unstoppable. Man is balling out of his mind this season. 25.5 points, 4 assists a night, shooting 51% from the field and 45.8% from three. So, Joe, is it time to launch the Collin Sexton Most Improved Player bandwagon campaign?
I mean, yeah, that's definitely a campaign that you can jump on, or bandwagon. Do I think it's set? No. I mean, this is still like early in the season. There are 50 more games left for every team.
True.
I think his chances are looking really good, though. And I mean, I think most improved player, like this guy is playing at a great level, might, be able to take Cleveland to the playoffs, honestly, as an 8 seed.
Facts.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what we should be focusing on, not just most improved player, because that's just kind of hurtful. He's amazing right now.
Yeah, and I'm saying launch the campaign, jump on the bandwagon. I'm buying stock in it. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. It's nowhere near that. And his numbers last season were good, but the efficiency he's shooting at is just even better. His assist numbers have gone up a little bit. The big problem with Sexton out of college was concerns about maybe how efficient he would be from the field. He has kind of eased those concerns throughout his career. This season, it's just been a whole nother level, though. Shooting great numbers. Obviously, only 11 games thus far for him. Yeah, 11 games played. But I really like what I've seen from him. Guy's gotten great in ball screens. He's doing better at involving his teammates. I mean, he's shown he's just an absolute competitor. Single-handedly, I saw a tweet he burned 113 million on fire, which I found pretty funny. But I think that this prompts a larger question, not just about the Cavs. I think the Cavs are more than credible as a potential play-in tournament contender for sure. I think that's a legitimate question. But the thing I want to ask about is the Brooklyn Nets, right? Because the Nets, they've got on a bit shaky since the last episode we had when Harden got traded. They were 2-0 since the Harden trade, and then they lost both to Cleveland, and they just beat a shorthanded Miami team, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, to go to 3-2. But there are huge concerns about this defensive fit. I saw something like they're off when all three guys, Kyrie, Harden, and Durant, are all on the floor. The offensive rating is obviously through the roof, but the defensive rating is also a huge problem for them. So we talked about concerns about defense and depth. Joe, what is your level of concern for the Nets? Do you think that that maybe we're overreacting a bit to those 2 losses? Or do you think that defensively these problems are actually kind of going to be difficult to fix with a lack of depth in the playoffs to kind of adjust your rotations if your defense is floundering?
I think, I said this last time, the lack of depth is a concern. I think this is still, we're 3 games into the, big 3.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call it, I'm saying this because, got to wait till the end of the season for me personally to see if it's a true big 3. But, I say give it a few more games. The defense is going to be a problem, but the Mavs showed last year that, you can win off of offense and make the playoffs. The problem at that point is going far in the playoffs, which they almost did if they didn't lose Kristaps, but that's beside the point.
I think this is credible. These concerns are credible. I'm looking at the roster.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of the starting 5, which the starting 5 is one of the best in the league, right? You've got Irving, Harden, Durant, Joe Harris, who is one of the more underrated wings in the league and one of the best shooters in the league. And then you have DeAndre Jordan or Jeff Green playing the center spot. But beyond that, right, you're looking at Timothy Luwawu, Cabarrot, Bruce Brown, Reggie Perry, and then potentially somebody like Landry Shaman or Tyler Johnson. I don't
Yes.
know if with that lack of depth and also issues potentially just on the defensive end, if those guys can stay fresh enough to power the Nets through the playoffs and the finals. I think they'll get to the I think there's a very good chance that they make the NBA finals. I'm not going to even throw that out the window. But when we were talking about if it's too early to judge them as favorites and everything, I think the Lakers are a more cohesive team, a better defensive unit. And while maybe a few like if they play a series, it goes to 6 or 7 because the Nets are just unbelievable offensively. I just think with the way the playoffs will grind you down and the lack of depth and the lack of defense, the Lakers would have a massive advantage on that front, especially with LeBron being very refreshed throughout the playoffs, just given that he knows exactly when to exert himself and when to take a step back. So I say that maybe we jumped a bit too far when this deal was made and got excited because this big three is obviously unbelievable. But there are a lot of concerns for me with depth and defense as the season progresses and as wear and tear sets in.
Sure, but you've only seen 3 games with them.
I know 100%. And I'm not saying that like
3 games.
I'm not saying
That's a
that
small sample size.
yeah,
That's
I'm
all
not
I'm
saying we can
saying.
make a full judgment on the Brooklyn Nets off 3 games. What I'm saying though is there are valid concerns about depth and players wearing
Mm-hmm.
themselves out, and the defense will always be a problem. I mean, when you have Kyrie Irving and James Harden sharing the court, your backcourt's going to get exploited.
Yeah,
And it's not like that's going to get magically fixed over the course of the year, for
of
me
course
at
not.
least. So I'm not saying that this is an automatic, oh, the Nets won't win. No, the Nets could absolutely win a championship. But what I am saying is, I think right now we can't jump to a conclusion and be like, yeah, this is the ultimate favorite team. Right now, I think that it goes to the incumbent until I see otherwise.
Yeah, I think we already said like last week they could be the favorites to win, so I'm going to stick with it until I see a few more, games from them, just for a bigger sample size.
Hey, y'all, thank you everyone for watching. If you want to see our last video, click here. If you want to see our next video, click here. And if you want to subscribe, click on my face.